actually a very timely topic, because over the last 2 decades, we've witnessed and grown accustomed to the notion of outsourcing, where a business will strike a contract with another business and divest itself of non-core competencies. Like if your competency is design and you want to leave the manufacturing to somebody else, you do that. That became a big movement, especially in the consumer electronics industry, right? In the computer industry. Now, in crowdsourcing, in contrast, you don't strike a contract with another business. You instead invite people who have time to spare on the web for some compensation to perform tasks that really require humans, right? It cannot be done by computers, so you actually need humans to look at it. Right? So this is range from, capture to things like designing creatives for advertising, right? So you want to test which of 4 advertising formats will work with different backgrounds. Then you summon a crowd using a platform like Mechanical Turk, try all 4 combinations, and then see which one wins, right? And you can measure by using tests like, what is the recall of what advertisement was shown. So what this is opening up is a fertile view of being able to solve problems that cannot be mechanically solved by computers, but in fact require human intelligence, right? And the applications are pretty widespread. In fact, we're seeing applications all the way from language translation to fraud detection to designing studies in more of a scientific vein on how do users interact, right? How do people solve problems? How do people solve problems together? In a series of very recent experiments we've been doing, we've been looking at how do people collectively solve problems when they are part of a social network. Okay? Now, you cannot really experiment in the real world, because in the real world, the social network is fixed. We know who knows each other, right? You cannot vary that and see what happens. However, with the crowdsourcing experiment, we can plant a social network, because these are all strangers to each other. And we can set up who's connected to whom, and then watch which social network leads to a quick solution of a problem versus a slow solution of a problem, right? So I think both in terms of commercial application and in terms of scientific insight, crowdsourcing is proving to be a very powerful tool on which to build results. I think for a number of reasons, right? So the basic model of the adaptive enterprise is one that recognizes that there is no static enterprise building a static product, right? You build something, you run it for a while, collect data, you build insights and hypotheses from this data, and then you iterate what you're building. Okay, a simple example is in our industry, in the internet, right? What we show a consumer in terms of content and advertising is constantly being refined by the data we are collecting. So I mentioned that we collect about 30 terabytes of data a day. Right? Now, if you come to the Yahoo front page, historically we had a purely editorial model where the stories we showed you would be picked out by editors. That is no longer the case. What we now do is have the editors pick a much larger pool of stories, and then a data mining engine is optimizing the content that's being shown with the goal of maximizing the user's engagement. So what we're doing is trying various stories experimentally, gathering data on which stories are drawing user engagement, and then looking at the lifetimes of the residual stories, we present content. And by doing this, which is a straightforward application of data mining, what we see in the Yahoo homepage is a 200% increase in the clicks that we get on the stories. Okay? And if you take this as a proxy for user engagement, that's a pretty dramatic lift in user engagement from data mining. So this is a case where the enterprise, us, is adapting to the behavior of users, their interests, what stories are they more interested in following, right? And this is all coming from data mining.